I just wanted to jump on here and share something with you guys real quick. Yesterday, I happened to run into one of my old football players from when I coached youth league football. I didn't recognize him at first, but he tapped me on the shoulder. I turned around, I'm looking at this kid, and I'm just like, well, actually, he's a grown man at this point. And I'm like, who is this guy? And I kept looking, and it kind of took a minute for me to realize that I've coached so many kids, exactly who this kid was. And then he was like, oh man, you don't remember me? And I'm like, yeah, I remember you. I remember that you played football for me. I just don't remember what year or for how long. I said, did you stay for an entire season, or were you like in and out? He was like, no. He was like, you coached me for a couple of years, and I had no choice because you just wouldn't give up on me. You kind of forced me to play. And then I realized who he was. He was actually a neighbor, lived down a couple of houses down from me, and I had asked his mom, can he come and play football for me? And he was running around with a bad element in the street at the time, so I was, one of my goals was to first get him out of the street and then try to teach him some life skills through a sport. For a while, I had him out there, but after a couple of years and he got a little older, became a teenager, he was able to make his own decisions. It was hard to force him to continue down that same path. I did hear some years later that he got into, I guess, a gang situation in the streets, and he shot somebody shot him, and we lost contact. I haven't heard from him in years until yesterday. Then he's explaining to me how he left that life behind him. He has 3 children of his own now, and he's loving life. I mean, like I said, last I heard about him, he was on a one-way ticket to either a cemetery or to a jail cell, right? So I was very happy to hear that he changed his life around and he was in a better place. And the fact that he remembered that I wasn't giving up on him definitely struck a chord, with me, because I think that's very important for everybody to have somebody in their life that they feel as though that never gave up on them, regardless of what they were going through. But that's not even the important part of the story to me. The important part of the story to me is that at some point he decided to add a plot twist to his story, right? So that's one of the things I like to do with younger individuals. Even when I'm doing life coaching for older people, I try to get them to understand that you are actually writing your own life story. You are the person who has the pen, so you get to decide what happens next in your story, right? I try to get people to understand that. But the other part, not just actually just writing the story, the other part that's real important that his story shows is that it's okay to add a plot twist to your story, right? So regardless on what direction you're going in, regardless of where you're at in life, you can always add a plot twist, right? So he went from being somebody who was going to wind up being in the jail cell for the rest of his life, or dead in the streets somewhere, to somebody who actually has a family now and children that he cares for, and he's actually decided to put them in the same sport that I had him in, to give them some type of structure and things like that. So that's a very good sign. But yeah, the plot twist is very important. So whoever you are out there, just understand that regardless of where you are in your life right now, that you can always add a plot twist. It doesn't have to keep going in the same direction, and you don't have to be so predictable. I'm the type of person, I don't like predictable movies, right? If I can see that the writing is poor and that you know, well, this is what's going to wind up happening in the movie because it's just so predictable. That's a boring movie to me. A good movie is when you think it's going somewhere and then realize, oh man, this took a turn that I didn't see coming. That's a good movie. So, yeah, that's all I wanted to say is, hey, you're writing your own story. Don't forget, if you want to change things up and add a plot twist to it, that's your prerogative. That was all.